We'll see them in the YouTube titles once they are corrected. I don't personally know them right now because the users just wanted me to stream this game. But looking at the teams, very interesting. I was not able to see the band and pick the band champions, but looking at them, we're seeing a fairly interesting bottom lane right now with the Kog'Maw pick. Not very common for the bottom lane, more commonly seen in the mid lane picks as an AP carry rather. So for their team, they're pulling the Ziggs instead. We're seeing a Cho'Gath jungle as well on the blue team. Quite interesting because it's not very common these days, and I'm wondering if he's going and how he's going to build him, and whether he's going to be building towards an AP carry or just a secondary tank. Vladimir, while he is an AP carry and scales outrageously, he does have a lot of sustain. He pretty much is just a sponge in the same regard that Mundo is, so that will be interesting to see how that goes. But this is going to be a Vladimir mid, not a Vladimir top lane. On the other hand, so we're going to be seeing that Gnar top lane against the Mundo and this Vlad against Ziggs. I have to think that that is going to be in Vlad's favor, but we'll have to see for the early portions of the game if Ziggs tries to make great use of his passive and auto attacks consistently, he could take the lead. And we're going into the loading screen now. It will take just a moment for it to reach for you guys. The Thresh support in the bot lane versus Leona and Jinx. That definitely seems like it is going to be in Leona's favor. The Kog'Maw pick I'm a little bit on. I'm not too sure how well he's going to play him. But Leona and Jinx are a very strong combination of characters. A lot of burst damage from the passive of Leona, and a lot of rapid early game advantage and damage from the Jinx. She does mainly have her chompers, and Zap, unless you use it for harassment, won't be a very effective ability in most cases, but still can be very strong. We're going to have to watch out and see if we see any assassinations with the Reindeer Kog'Maw. They're lighting his red nose and shooting a laser of death in his passive while he approaches the Leona or Jinx, or potentially even that jungle Cho'Gath once he jumps the lanes. Jungle Wukong is a very strong pick. We've seen this tournament so far, and we did see it on Chaos Reign 77's team as a stealth-based assassin, and he's definitely shown as a high-ranking Diamond player that he has a giant passion for them and agrees that they are mutually strong amongst each other. I think that'll be a great pick for his team. It has a lot of CC. That'll be great to follow up with the Ziggs ult, or to even open it up for him to land a great Ziggs ult, along with the Thresh ult being an incredibly good combination for some early game ganks, and even the level 6 especially in that bot lane. Flashes will be wasted, and we are seeing the game going underway. And excuse me while I correct my settings. I did recently lower my volume. I apologize. And sorting these out. And there we have it. Neither team looking like they're going to be doing anything for this early game invade, playing a typically standard safe game. At the moment, we are seeing red team getting there a little bit of a gold advantage right now, and that's interesting because that might be suggestive that the Thresh is actually rolling gold per 10, or someone perchance is. I'm not so certain about that. Actually, no, strike that. My mistake. That could also be from the masteries of greed, and perchance Leona is actually going hardcore into the defense tree, as we do see her with that 50 magic resist and 42 ability power. Armor at the moment. 1 minute and 27 seconds into the match, and once again, nothing happening. Just waiting as that Kog'Maw is dancing. He's got the Christmas spirit. He's got the festive in him, and he was ready to bring that hell on to the Gromp buff. Excuse me, I mismatched the Wukong. No, the Vladimir, I believe. Yes, sorry. We are seeing Cho'Gath starting at the Grump as well. It will be a great addition for him since he will be able to keep up a lot of sustain from his passive as well as dealing percent of health, or dealing percent of health from the Grump poison back. It's just a consistent flow of damage and sustain. His clear may not be the greatest, and we're seeing him get very low right now actually against this blue buff. He's certainly going to be able to take it. His smite is down, so this is not looking like a very good clear. He's going to have to back after this, more than likely. Leona dropping a ward in the bottom brush. Thresh going to take one auto attack from it and nothing going to happen. Leona actually not making use of her item with the relic shield there and taking one of the minions so it can count down. At the moment, the gold value and gold production is non-existent until she attacks a minion and removes that one stack. Meanwhile, Thresh sitting in the bush just collecting all of the good goldies from his ancient coin, and there we can see the one stack finally. But she's actually not going to use it on the siege minion there. But looks like she's going to use the second one on there. We see Wukong coming around the mid lane. Ping's going down from the red team. Stealth going in. Vladimir did not see him, but the pool for denial. Troll pool every day. Leona going in on Kog'Maw, getting a lot of good damage from herself alone, having 71 AD. Certainly not rolling the gold pretend that Thresh may have been rolling in this case. As we see Cho'Gath on the minimap finally reaching his Krugs. Overall in the lane so far, bottom lane's doing quite good on their farm. We're seeing 21 to 19 at the moment. Mid lane's maybe not doing as good as they could have been, but it could just be due to constant harassment. And we hear that ping going down from Wukong getting damaged in his jungle. It's going to be an interesting game once it gets to team fights. Gnar, while definitely a very strong aggressor in general, especially in the top lane with his hyper, towards the team fights, they will have the option of disengaging by using Gnar's ultimate to their advantage, or potentially setting up Leona ultimates with it as well. There's a lot of potential for these Leona ultimates in this game, and that's why I absolutely love the Cho'Gath pick. And we're seeing Vladimir getting low in the mid lane, taking a lot of harassment. Ziggs isn't even near death right now, has his summer spell healing. We're seeing bottom lane Zenith Blade going out onto Tsundere Queen, and not going to get the kill, but Leona's going to get hooked under tower. Summoner Spell Heal going out from Kog'Maw. A little preemptive there. Neither of them were low. I suppose he just wanted the movement speed to try to go for the kill. And top lane, Gnar going into Mega Gnar, throwing some rocks. Good rupture from Cho'Gath, but just going to walk away with the harassment and try to get these minions. Gold is more important when you know you cannot get a kill. So very smart decision. Bot lane still not backing and not giving up. They will not surrender. Wukong, the Lantern going down. Wukong trying to jump in this bottom lane, but a little bit too late, as they were prepared and they did get sight on him before the Lantern was available. On the first back there for Vladimir, we're seeing the Hextech Gunblade for the Spell Vamp. That'll be a very strong item for him. On the contrary, we are seeing a Chalice going down for Ziggs. While it will certainly suit his playstyle and aggression and wave pushing potential, overall the mana regen on it is going to be a little underwhelming for these earlier portions, and we'll have to see if that's going to actually be a benefit for him. And bottom lane, once again, we're seeing Leona going in, very nicely placed chompers by Mazu. The exhaust going down onto Kog'Maw rather than Thresh, but we're going to see the first blood going down to Leona, as a matter of fact, from her W popping. Very nicely done on Mazu. Those chompers absolutely secured that kill. In the exhaust, also, you have to note that Leona did place on Kog'Maw. Specifically placing it on him certainly saved her life in that matter, as well as the very nicely timed Summoner Spell Heal. farm at the moment still roughly even, apart from this mid lane. Ziggs starting to take an advantage, actually 18 CS above, though we do see a wave approaching him at the moment. Top lane, this Gnar actually crushing the Mundo. Might just be due to the consistent harassment and him trying to avoid all of the hyper stacks so he doesn't get his health blown up. But it's actually 57 to 37, 20 CS above him. That is a substantial difference. Even though Mundo has backed already, he has a chain vest, and that's a little surprising considering the amount of resistance. And maybe it's just the item potential. Mid lane, we see Vladimir throwing down the ultimate, trying to get as much damage as he can in, but the ignite will not do much. The ultimate barely not killing him, as we see Ziggs living with roughly 100 health. Top lane, a lot of damage going down onto Mundo. Gnar jumping in onto him as he's overextended, pushing his lane. Some good cleavers and ultimate regeneration from Mundo, but we see Mega Gnar winding down and Mundo backing out as well. Both junglers taking their buffs. Gold leader right now, 1.1k or 1.2k now in the blue team's favor, and we see Cho'Gath just, well, he's just trying to be scary. All right, he wants to be a nightmare. But the gold value right now for each team, roughly 1k difference, not a great amount considering it is divided amongst the entire team. The majority of that has to be towards this top lane. As we can see, 500 of it is actually on the Gnar. Not a great amount, but having any advantage over your opponent can snowball and just help you deny them from taking any more of a lead and what have you. Kog'Maw rushing for the Bilgewater Cutlass. We're certainly going to be seeing a Blade of the Ruin King coming from that, as Jinx actually opted for the BF sword on her first back. I'm not sure if that's going to go for a Bloodthirster or into a straight Infinity Edge, but we will see some interesting damage trades here. Overall, Kog'Maw with his W might be able to outtrade the Jinx, but due to her attack speed, if she is able to get in range, that might not be the case. And with Leona in mind, with all of that hard CC, that might be very likely. Wukong jumping on the mid lane once again, but Vladimir is going to try to pull Wukong flashing forward and ulting. We see the Ziggs ult going down, but Wukong's helicopter is going to secure the kill. Vladimir, no flash, no ultimate, and no ignite, had no chance of escaping that apart from his pool. And once again, we see Cho'Gath jumping towards the mid lane. Satchel charge going down from Ziggs, and he's not even going to need it. He doesn't want to build a snowman. Mega Gnar roaming from top lane, trying to get a sneaky gank on this kill for Ziggs. We'll see how likely that is. Actually just throwing the boomerang, getting one stack of hyper. Was a little tempted to go in, but he decided to back out. Leona with the boots over Thresh will have some easier Zenith Blades, and we should be seeing some aggression very soon in the bottom lane with her exhaust and ultimate being available. There we go. We called it, ladies and gentlemen. The ultimate going down, but a nice play from Thresh, stopping the Zenith Blade from returning to the Kog'Maw. Thresh getting very low, but actually going to hook onto Jinx as the box goes down. Jinx ultimate going down and hitting Thresh, but not going to be enough due to the nerf recently, and Thresh will get the kill on Jinx. Gnar top lane, an incredibly good ultimate into the wall, stunning both of them as Mundo was stuck under tower, forced to take the tower damage. And we see Leona jumping in on Kog'Maw, but she does not have the damage to take him out with all of his lifesteal in mind. But Cho'Gath trying to roam in. We'll see that Rupture land very nicely executed, and Smite going down. He does have Feast, and he does get a kill for free. In the mid lane, so much action going on this game. Vladimir ultimate going to go down with the Ignite, not going to be nearly enough. He has nearly 300 health left right now. Kind of a poor execution and rather poor positioning to actually execute that rotation, but a decent attempt. Wukong sneaking around once again. Vladimir does not have flash or any of his abilities at the moment. We did just see him wasted onto the Ziggs, so there's very little possibility for backfire. Wukong trying to go in. The pool getting enough distance. It's effectively like a flash, but you're untargetable, so it's very nice. Wukong trying to go into the enemy jungle, but he's sitting on a ward. Vladimir and Cho'Gath going to try to kill him. The damage from Vladimir actually was what took him down so low there. It wasn't even a Cho'Gath feast, and a very nicely done kill by the red team, or the blue team rather. Ziggs throwing down some just random shots into the blind there. Red team with that sight zone on Thresh. They do have it on Leona as well, but Leona has not chosen. Bottom lane, we're seeing Leona going onto the Kog'Maw. Thresh was roaming around. We see the Lantern go down, but in the middle of the animation, one auto attack from Jinx will kill him. Jinx now 2-1-1 with nearly 20 farm over the Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw 0-2 actually. Over a 1.1k gold lead right now. That's going to be massive in the coming points of this mid-game phase. At the moment, she does have that pickaxe and BF sword, and Vladimir trying to go on to the Ziggs. Very nice flash, making use of the invulnerability, or untargetableness rather, from the pool, and actually getting away. We do see Wukong going down to the bottom lane, jumping onto the Jinx as the Thresh may or may not have landed the hook, but the box was enough to slow. We see them both chasing as Leona has her W active, getting some tanky stats from that, but Gnar is going to teleport down from top lane. He does not have full rage yet, but he is building up, and he is getting mad. Wukong going to try to deny the kill from the Gnar, continuing under tower, but Gnar will get one auto attack in, and Gnar's just going to hop onto the Thresh, taking a second kill. Kog'Maw wanting some of the action, but not looking like he may get any of it. And then potentially a kill here. He does not have very much damage, only that Bilgewater Cutlass still. He's sitting on 400 gold, not a lot, since he has been getting dominated in lane. Jinx just purchasing that Infinity Edge. That will be a massive buy for her and at the moment, considering Kog'Maw has little to no gold available to him. Because of this teleport to the bot lane, Mundo was trying to get as much damage on this top lane tower as he can, and surely he will be able to get it. Vladimir deciding to try to roam up right now, however, seeing what he can do. In the bot lane, we did just see Kog'Maw die from Jinx and a Gnar assist there. Potentially probably saw a boomerang and just so much harassment coming down since he was already low. And Thresh going to try to go in, landing a hook onto Gnar, but he has so much damage available and he's incredibly tanky. It's a Gnar, but Wukong coming in, taking a serious amount of damage from the Infinity Edge that Jinx just bought, giving up a free double kill to her as Leona pans through the tower after the battle. Gnar with that Black Cleaver being a serious threat even to the Thresh. Thresh has no base armor, but he has been collecting stacks and does have a cloth armor that I believe he just purchased. However, and we're seeing blue team going straight for this dragon. Red team did have that ward there that blue team will see expire, so they do in fact have the timer on it, but no contest in getting it. Not even a Ziggs ultimate, which was up. Blue team roaming towards the mid lane, making great use of their advantage that they all the damage and Jinx early game attack speed. Free tower, free gold for everyone. This is going to be a massive spike for the blue team. We're seeing Red Thresh throwing down the Lantern, however, just for a snowball to land onto Leona. Thresh still staying in the mid lane. Vladimir trying to go in, turning back onto the Ziggs, but a very nice save from Thresh, pulling him out of his ult from the Ziggs ultimate. In fact, however, still a nice save, no less, but it did stop the kill from occurring. Leona going in onto the Wukong as Wukong tries to dive onto the Vladimir, taking way too much damage and dying from a Rupture Strike from the Cho'Gath. Leona's ultimate going it down onto the Thresh, but she will miss the Zenith Blade. We are seeing a Spectre's Cowl being bought by the Gnar. More than not too sure on what he's going to purchase with that. A Banshee's Veil would be a very good decision. So that would be nice to not necessarily to absorb the cleavers, but the magic resist and health combining with his built-in resistance as he's taking out the tower very easily after he shifts into Megadar, shooting Mundo into the wall, trying to throw rocks, but he's going to hit a minion as Mundo popped his ultimate and is just getting away. We are seeing this Wukong in the top lane. Gnar is going to ward in the bush, but is going to take a serious amount of damage between the two. Still very tanky with such a low amount of health, but Wukong will dash forward and take the kill as Ziggs was rotating even with that in mind. Vladimir rotating to the top lane now, finding a low health Wukong. Wukong will stealth to try and avoid the damage. He does, in fact, but Cho'Gath cornering them into a trap. He does have his feast up, so if he can get into range, he does get the rupture, and the feast surely will follow. But no, Vladimir is going to get the kill with his Q from a range. We're seeing a very big shift here in the kills, even though red team is still dominating overall. We're just seeing it more towards the top lane, and this Vladimir actually making a return. Even though Ziggs never had any kills, he did have quite an advantage in the lane, and Vladimir had nowhere near enough damage for a large portion of it. But now we're going to surely be seeing that turning. Nice ultimate coming down from Leona onto Kog'Maw. Xenoblade following and a second stun. Nice hook from Thresh as well, returning it, but the damage from Jinx critting him, and a very late Summoner Spell heal from Kog'Maw, though he's going to run into the bush towards Vladimir, getting ulted on, in fact, as well. Jinx nearly taking out the bottom lane tower, going to take a full Kog'Maw passive. The Jinx ultimate going to miss the Thresh, but she will attack him once with Fishbones taking the kill from the crit as well, and we see the turret finally going down. This game is massively snowballing into blue team's favor, despite the Ziggs having the thematic theme and the very hopeful one as well. We'll have to see where the builds go from here. Cho'Gath looking like he's going for a Frozen Heart with that Glacial Shroud and Warden's Mail. Mundo in the top lane going against that Gnar hasn't had much of a chance for anything. I felt like he's been basically having the Dyrus Simulator 2015, dying twice, getting ganked constantly, and in these later portions of the team fights he won't be worth much either, as Cho'Gath will just be able to feast him if he does get anywhere near low health, so we may have to try to pop his ultimate in earlier portions to actually save his life. Seeing a lot of blue team members converging in near this red team blue buff, but nothing going to happen. Gnar just throwing out some rocks and damage onto the Thresh, missing most of it, but going to get hit once. Gnar jumping onto the Kog'Maw, who was spotted in the bush, but we see he actually missed, but Leona's ultimate going down. Wow, Vladimir caught a little bit out of place as Wukong stealthed in. Wukong trying to chase down the Jinx, but he's got two other members of the blue team chasing behind him as well. Thresh trying to follow suit as we see Mundo teleporting into the bot lane, throwing down some cleavers onto Leona and the Cho'Gath. That will be good percent of damage health. Since Cho'Gath does not have any magic resist right now, he's not only so useful, however, as we see Ziggs rotating in, but Cho'Gath's going to turn onto the Wukong and feast him as he does get very low and eventually taken down from the Ziggs, and the shutdown gold will be his. Leona, the only team member to get out of there alive, but we do see Gnar top lane as he did revive, or rather respawn and teleport to the top lane to push this lane in. At the moment, I'm not really too sure what red team can do against this team. They do have that Kog'Maw, and I feel like he's getting caught out of position way too much for them to be of any use. He's actually 0-5 right now, even with the Blade of the Rune King, and that active being somewhat helpful for getting him out of sticky situations, but his positioning is so poor that it's really not working to his favor. Gnar they do have a lot of engage on the blue team, so it's not much he can do all in all. It's not entirely his fault, but hopefully we can see some Thresh Lancers rather than the one like this one here, getting him out of these situations because he can't do anything else for his own good. Vladimir ultimate going down onto the Kog'Maw, but he's going to actually ignore him and choose to try to fight the Thresh, but in turn he will allow his Leona to be killed and give Kog'Maw a free kill. Thresh rotating around. He does have mobility boots, and Ziggs coming for the support and save. Still in that bush. He's in a very vulnerable situation. Vladimir's E going to hit him with the AoE targeting, and he's surely to die now as Vladimir is still chasing, but he's actually going to survive with that potion. And nice hook onto the Gnar under tower, but he's way too tanky at this point. Only has the Warden's Mail, but he does have a lot of health and built in just high numbers in general for his scaling. Leona with the cloth armor and sapphire and mana crystal there. Sure, interestingly, going to go more than likely for that Iceborne Gauntlet. That would be a very great addition for the amount of control that they already have. And we see Wukong trying to stealth in, but he is going to get slowed by the Gnar Boomerang once again. Even ultimate going down, but he's not going to do anything to the Gnar. We see the crit going down from Jinx, nearly killing him, and the Gromp buff is going to take the Wukong kill. I don't think anyone on their team expected that to happen. Amazing turn of events there. Gnar trying to jump in, getting the second bounce from the minion. Great damage going down as we see the Jinx ultimate flying forward as well. But the kill will go to Gnar ultimately, and Leona jumping, shooting her ultimate down. But we see the Ziggs ultimate trying to interfere here. Not nearly enough damage. He did rush for that Athene's Unholy Grail. He does have a needlessly large rod and Aether Wisp going for that Luden's Echo, but he doesn't have anywhere near enough damage to be a threat to the enemy team right now, especially considering they have 3 massively tanky and 1 highly sustaining champion between that Leona, Gnar, Vladimir, and Cho'Gath. The second dragon going down to blue team. This buff will be doing him more justice and stopping the red team from coming back at all. Nice satchel charge from the Ziggs, but Cho'Gath's trying to get in range to Feast, getting some auto attacks down. Some decent attacks going down on Mundo. He does have his ultimate popped already. We see Wukong actually coming from the backline here, jumping onto the Jinx, doing decent damage, but Mundo will take the kill with a cleaver from the range. The Talisman of Ascension coming down from Thresh, but he's going to be alone here as his entire team are very low on health. But we see the Gnar teleport coming down. Nice ultimate onto the Wukong from Leona. Gnar's just going to throw a rock and take the kill as the Mundo and Kog'Maw are still at a distance and safe, but we see the Thresh rotating around. This may not be very good for him. A lot of damage coming down from the Gnar and the Vladimir. Way too much. He will get killed very easily as Vladimir approaches and actually pops his ultimate onto Tsundere Quinn. No, he's going to turn around, but he's still going to get killed. The E from Vladimir did hit him before because of the fact that he turned around there. Mundo and Ziggs, the Xenoblade goes down. She will place his mines down onto the ground, killing Leona as the satchel. The cleaver actually takes it from Mundo instead. Jinx ultimate going down, very nicely done. Mundo was at a very low health, but not quite enough considering he does have that Spectre's Cowl and a lot of armor and health at the moment. Wukong nearly being taken down as he did step on the chompers there, and he will get taken down from a Gnar Boomerang they did have slight vision on. Gnar surely going to go down from that red buff from Mundo. Jinx getting an incredibly easy kill onto the Ziggs. Not much they can do at this point. She does have a Phantom Dancer for bonus mobility and a full Infinity Edge, of course. She's an incredibly big threat with that massive amount of attack speed. There's nothing I don't think the enemy team can do to stop the snowball unless they get incredibly lucky and catch them out of position. But we're not seeing any of that this entire game. It's the exact opposite. Red team is almost rather on a tilt, if you could almost suggest. And we see, once again, Cho'Gath taking another kill, having his breakfast on the Thresh. The gold lead right now is 10.4k gold into blue team's favor. They do have 4 more towers, and obviously the 2 dragons. At this given point in time, they could easily secure a Baron whenever they feel like it, with their entire team being so tanky, and the Gnar Hybrid even doing the percent of health damage as well to the Baron. Looks like they're rather just going to rotate to the top lane. Might be seeing the Leona tanking the tower, but we're actually going to see Cho'Gath coming in from the front side, tanking it himself. Jinx easily securing the tower with all of her attack speed and attack damage at the moment. but Cho'Gath getting quite low in return from that. A missed hook from the Thresh that seemed like a little bit of a misplay. Either that or he was trying to predict him jumping the opposite direction. Vladimir going onto the mid lane. Wukong going to ult in reaction. He has nothing left. He knows he's going to die. Dr. Mundo going onto the Vladimir still. He does get the kill, but Jinx is going to destroy him very shortly, more than likely. His ultimate actually keeping him alive. He does have the Spirit Visage, so that is helping him greatly. We do see the Zenith Blade missing from Leona, trying to engage again onto the Kog'Maw and Thresh. A fairly decent fight for the red team there, compared to most. Nice hook onto Jinx, but he's so low that this might be his death. Leona just turning on him instead, as she is very tanky at the moment, as the entire team is. But she is caught out of position with no escape, as her flash was down. Gnar continuing to try to pummel on the tower, but not going to be enough. Cho'Gath being caught out by the Wukong. Interesting positioning by him. Might have been trying to loop around, but then he caught him in the act there, jumping onto the Gnar. But Mega Gnar will pop. A very poor decision. He should have noticed the enrage, getting ready to go down. Gnar will ulti onto the Mundo and stun him up with his W as well. Once again, another kill for the Jinx. Red team still having a fairly strong defense with that Ziggs and his extreme amount of pushing potential, but we are going to see blue team just backing out for this time. Hopefully on this next back, seeing a Baron and trying to push for the towers with the extreme amount of health that the minions will be providing for them as well. Talisman of Ascension going down from the Thresh. We're going to see the pool coming down from Vlad, but a nice satchel into the Thresh hook. It would have landed regardless, I feel, but so much damage coming down. Thresh may die from this. The ultimate did land on him and Kog'Maw. We might be seeing a double kill any moment now. The double kill does go down to Vlad, in fact, but we're seeing Leona flashing over the wall. Wukong still on the prowl, smelling that armor. But she is too fast, so he is going to end the pursuit for the kill. Dr. Mundo at this in this stage of the game, he's built a Thornmail, which will be a very good item for him, but given Jinx's items, she's actually working for a Last Whisper on her next one, and I feel even with her current items, she will be able to out-damage that Thornmail. Perhaps if Mundo pops his ultimate at a good time and has his regeneration flowing, that might be enough to actually kill her. But we're going to see the Zenith Blade coming down from Leona over the wall onto the Ziggs. The ultimate going to follow, but it did not stun. It only lands the slow. Mundo following around, trying to catch them out of position. Nice Ziggs ultimate landing on the Cho'Gath, but not going to be enough. He's very tanky. Ziggs Saltra charging up to the Leona. We're going to see the snowball coming down. A nice Kog'Maw ultimate. One more, and she's dead. She actually dodges both of their attacks, but one auto attack from the Ziggs as she steps out. We'll take the kill. Thresh, on the other hand, for blue team, being caught out of position, and Gnar and the rest of that team roaming up. A nice rupture from Cho'Gath, but it's going to miss. Not very nice at all, in fact. Wukong running into the back line here, a little bit stuck. He's out of mana. One more auto attack. Nope, one more. The zap actually going to take the kill from afar. Blue team absolutely snowballing this into their favor, incredibly harsh, and it's interesting to think about it because they, Vladimir's ultimate going down onto the Ziggs, that might be enough damage to take the kill. Nope, falling a little short. We're seeing Kog'Maw getting some decent damage for once actually, but he is going to be taking down. He's got a little too close, so Jinx was able to take advantage of that, as well as the Gnar from those auto attacks. Once again, we're seeing a lot of deaths coming out from this Kog'Maw, not something that the red team needs. They have a lot of hybrid damage to avoid the tankiness of the enemy team, but they're not having the chance to use it. Chomper's going down from Jinx to stop them from getting out of the gate. Leona trying to go in onto the Wukong. Probably not going to be seeing anything from it. He's actually going to charge in onto the Leona. He's got himself revealed. I'm not really sure what did reveal him there, but he is still alive, actually. somehow escaping from his ultimate and just walking into his own, towards his own tower there. Nice zap from Jinx, actually going to take the kill very blindly. No wards in that brush. Two members of the red team right now. Dr. Mundo barely escaping. More than likely, that should have been because of his passive alone in regenerating that health. An incredible save, but we're seeing Gnar trying to duel with that Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw does have a lot of damage. Even so, it's incredible. I'm still shocked to see this. Kog'Maw only has one fully built item. He is sitting on 1.2k gold, but he only has the Sheen and Zeal. Looking for a Trinity Force. That's a shock for a 32-minute point in the game. Jinx actually looking at, just compare the two. Jinx is getting fed here. She does have more farm, but that gold difference is unreal. 5.2k more gold difference, in fact, right now. It's unbelievable. Kog'Maw does have a high amount of damage built into him from his W, and he is kind of getting a little bit of hybrid attack speed in the process with the Zeal and Blade of the Rune King, but it's nowhere near enough from what he needs. Vladimir trying to go onto the Ziggs, popping his ultimate, but we're going to see Thresh popping the Lantern. He is going to die still from that ultimate, but Kog'Maw actually, wait, wow, how did Ziggs live from that? I'm a little, wow, I thought that would kill him. I'm at a better lack of words. Oh, the Summoner spell heal. I did not notice that. That did go down there. But very close fight and good team fight for them. That's one more kill for the Kog'Maw, so on his last back. We do see him finishing the Trinity Force and getting a Cloak of Agility. Gnar picking up a Thorn Mail. I believe he's had that actually, but still it's very ineffective towards the Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw getting taken down a lot of damage here. He only has so much life still. We're going to see him get taken down very slowly. 10% life steal from Blade, or 12% rather, from Blade of the Rune King is not an incredible nope, I was correct. It was 10%. It's not an incredible amount. He may have the potential to scale if he does get more damage and just more. Lifesteal is the only thing that's going to save him at this point, but he does need more damage, and it looks like he might be going for an Infinity Edge for his next item after that, in combining with that Cloak of Agility. But we're going to see Blue Team taking the Baron buff finally, 34 minutes into the game, but Leona going to go in onto the Ziggs. Ziggs is going to flash over the wall, but the Vladimir is going to take the kill with his Q and some ranged damage just following with him. Zed caught out of position, very poor placement. They did not have vision in that brush, however, so you can't blame him all that much. 3 members left to try to defend these towers. They're not going to be able to do anything against this Jinx and the entire team. For that matter, they have so much damage, even for being tanks. Vladimir and some members trying to sniff them out, going towards their tower. But Blue Team is just going to push straight for the base. We see Mundo popping his ultimate, going on to Leona. Not a very effective choice. Jinx has so much damage, and the last Whisper complete. And interestingly, we're seeing the kill going down bottom lane, but the Vladimir ultimate is going to take the kill on Kog'Maw. And there is the game for Blue Team. Very one-sided for almost the entirety of it. I feel like Red Team had potential to win, but it wasn't working out. Blue Team having so much pick potential really worked so much into their favor. So it's, I think, mainly due to the fact that Red Team did not respect and consider that as much as they could have, or else it would have been potential that they could have at least a shot at winning. Congratulations to both teams, and a good game